you to me forever. I will betroth you in righteousness and justice, in love and compassion. I will betroth you in faithfulness, and you will acknowledge the Lord. When the woman in Revelation 12:2 goes into labor, her distress and pain are vivid. She is about to give birth, and the text promises to reveal more about the identity of the child later. Then, a formidable and fearsome dragon emerges, symbolizing a new layer of challenge and conflict in the narrative. Revelation 12:3 presents us with another ominous sign in the heavens, a mighty dragon of burning red color, identified as Satan, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on each head a royal crown or diadem. We observe another manifestation in the sky, emphasizing that the described entity is emblematic, not a literal fiery red dragon, but an allegory reflecting the essence and character of the being mentioned. The characterization of the dragon is a symbolic representation of its despotic authority and its evil nature, a personification of evil in its most dreadful expression. In the context of Revelation 12, the red dragon displays 7 heads and 10 horns, with 7 diadems adorning the heads. The horns denote strength, and the crowns, dominion. This configuration of 7 heads and 10 horns aims to evoke an image of colossal power, comprehensive authority, profound wisdom, and vigor, painting a genuinely intimidating picture. It is crucial to recognize that the term diadems, a transcription of the Greek diadema, is exclusive to Revelation in the New Testament, differing from the word crown, Stephanos, mentioned earlier. The distinction lies in the fact that the crown alludes to a definitive conquest, while the diadem symbolizes sovereignty and command. This female figure therefore distinguishes itself notably from the other women portrayed in Revelation. We encounter other female figures in Revelation, such as Jezebel. Jezebel is related to a religious system that propagates deceitful doctrines. In Revelation 2:20, there is criticism of tolerance towards Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess and leads my followers into immorality and participation in meals offered to idols. Another mentioned figure is the great prostitute, linked to religious idolatry in Revelation 17:2, where it is said that she seduced the earthly kings with her fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her debauchery. We also know the bride, symbolizing the church. This analogy is described in Revelation 19:7-8, where the arrival of the Lamb's marriage is celebrated, and the bride, the redeemed, prepares herself wearing fine linen, bright and clean. Linen represents the righteousness of the saints, their virtuous actions, integrity, moral courage, and virtue. Now we observe the dragon introducing more calamities, continuing its path of destruction and evil. Revelation 12:4 narrates that the dragon's tail swept 1/3 of the stars of heaven, throwing them to the earth. The dragon positioned itself before the woman about to give birth, waiting for the moment of birth to devour the newborn. Verse 9 of the same chapter clearly identifies the dragon as the ancient serpent, also known as the devil and Satan, famous for its ability to deceive the whole world. Verse 4 further informs us that the dragon was waiting for the birth of the Messiah with the purpose of annihilating him. God did not create an entity of evil. On the contrary, he formed angels endowed with the capacity to experience profound happiness and achieve remarkable feats in their heavenly environment. They possessed free will, a characteristic inherent to their moral condition, allowing them to choose between adherence to God or their own ruin. While some, like Michael and his angels, remained faithful, others rebelled against divine authority, becoming fierce opponents of God and his kingdom. The passage also mentions the birth of a male child, destined to rule all nations with rigor, directly alluding to Jesus Christ, the Messiah, who exercises his dominion with determination and strength. From his mouth comes a sharp sword, which is his word, by which he will judge the nations. He will lead them with a rod of iron and will crush the winepress of the furious wrath of Almighty God, executing judgment on the rebellious world. The attempt to annihilate the Son was first manifested in Herod's effort to exterminate Jesus in infancy, an act that also extended throughout Jesus' existence, with Satan's continuous assaults against him. In Matthew 2:16, 18, we see the narrative of Herod, who, feeling deceived by the Magi, became enraged and ordered the massacre of all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity, 2 years old and under, according to the information he had gathered from the Magi. Thus, the prophecy uttered by Jeremiah was fulfilled. A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted, for they were no more. Jesus' ministry is outlined from his birth to his ascension. The woman described in Revelation 12 gave birth to a boy, destined to lead all nations with rigor and justice, and immediately the child was caught up to God and his throne. It is evident that the central figure of this passage is Jesus, indicating that the woman in Revelation 12:1 does not symbolize the church, since it is Jesus who establishes the church, not vice versa. Therefore, this woman represents either Mary or Israel, the only two figures that could symbolically give birth to Jesus. A detailed interpretation of Revelation 12 suggests that the woman is indeed Israel, and not Mary. The dragon, representing Satan, futilely tries to devour the child, Christ. Despite Satan's attempts to eliminate Christ, he is born, caught up to heaven, and later ascends after the resurrection. The effort to correctly interpret who the woman represents gains clarity when we analyze the metaphors of her birth pains. A prophetic vision also mentioned in other texts of the Old Testament, such as in Micah 4:9-10. Why do you cry out, daughter of Zion? Your king has disappeared, your counselors are gone, and the pain of childbirth has come upon you, describes Micah. Feel the anguish and affliction like a woman writhing in labor pains, O daughter of Zion. You must leave the city, dwell in the fields, and head for Babylon. There you will find deliverance. There the Lord will save you from your adversaries. Micah foresaw the captivity of Israel in Babylon, an experience marked by acute sufferings, comparable to labor pains. However, even in adversity, the nation would be liberated and redeemed by God. The metaphor of childbirth pain is invoked again by Micah in his prophecy, illustrating the ongoing suffering of the nation, which would endure